Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Coming at you from sort of sunny Vancouver. We've been in the middle of a massive heat wave relative to the rest of our summer. It's not been, in my opinion, it's been a great summer. It's usually like highs of, 22, 24, but what that really means is it's more like 24, 25, 26, 27. Obviously all in Celsius. But it's been an unusually cool summer, and I think it's quite nice. It's always there's been a cool breeze, so you can enjoy the sun without just melting. But the last couple of days it has hit quite high. We were up to I think 32 on Monday and 29, 30 yesterday. So, being outside is nice where you've got the breeze, and if you got a little mister system going on, then even better. But yeah, unusually warm the last couple of days, which relatively speaking to most of the rest of you is probably nothing. But you do become acclimatized, right? It's the same as when you go to Mexico, and your body just kind of goes like, "What? Wait, hold on, what's going on there? Not sure about this heat." So yeah, we have got a bunch of topics to cover off today. Let's move over again. Um, and yeah, there's a lot going on, and I don't have in my topics today the all the activity that's been going on in Alaska, but we are going to cover that. So yeah. Hello, Tammy. Tammy saying, "Oh, 33 in your kitchen." Oh man. I have learned what works for me. I mean, it's different for everybody. Um, 2 days of heat, that's enough. Yeah. Well, next up, Alaska, right? Tammy and I are heading on Alaska cruise. And so that's going to be fun. I think our cruise is Wednesday to Wednesday. Not particularly smart timing on my part, but we should ideally be getting on board the ship at around 10 in the morning. I hope. So what we're going to do, that's September 3rd, we are going to delay the start of the live until 11 a.m. Hopefully we'll be on board the ship, drink in hand, and ready to explore. So I'm going to take you on board the Zandam, Holland America Zandam, and take you on a tour of the ship so you could see what that looks like. So that should be fun. Um, Hey, hey, Tony. Thanks. Actually, I got this in Aruba, saw it in the Bahamas, and I won like 300 bucks on a slot machine. And, you know, when you win, you got to spend it on something. And I wanted to go and buy a pendant like this, but they were quite small. The $300 ones were about half the size, and I didn't, and I didn't, and I was really annoyed, really kicked myself. And then about a year later, we went to Aruba, and we I'd seen them in a few jewelry shops. And Aruba, if you don't know, Aruba is renowned for having really, really inexpensive jewelry and gems, diamonds, that kind of thing. So we were in Aruba, and we'd seen a couple of these pendants, and my husband said, "Oh yeah, let's get you one, but let's not mess about. We'll get you the proper size one." So we ended up getting this one, and we brought it home and went and took it and got appraised, and it was actually 3 times what we spent for it. So really, really good value. And then no, earlier this year, when Tammy and I went cruising on Explora Journeys, one of the ports of call was St. Thomas. And if you don't want to spend more than $300 on something like this, uh, the one that I got, it's another one that I've worn on occasion, and it's yellow gold. It's yellow gold plated with cubic zirconias. And but right, like nowadays with the moissanite diamonds, which are lab made. They look as good as real diamonds, if not better, and they're cheap as chips. So for $50 US, I have another version which looks the same, but it's gold. So if you're in Saint Martin at the cruise ship port, there are a couple of jewelry shops, and this is where you can buy one for a very inexpensive price, or go to Aruba and buy the real thing. But thank you for the comment and the compliment. Jane is saying, just outside of Ottawa, incredibly hot, no rain in the last months. Okay, uber dry, and with the humidity, it's over 40. Ew. Finally rained a week ago last night. It finally rained last night, hugging the AC. Yeah. Um, yeah, we've got like buckets of rain coming. We did have, I think it was last week, we had 1 or 2 days of rain. And then this week, tomorrow night, the rain is supposed to start, and then we get like 30 to 40 millimeters, which is about a third of an inch or a half an inch in one day on Friday. So, I mean, it's good. We need the rain. We definitely need the rain. But yeah, um, yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you haven't been, Aruba's amazing. Beautiful place. Its nickname is One Happy Island, and it revolves around tourism. Even the oil and gas industry there, I think, is pretty much shut down. So they rely just on tourism, and there's so many people going all the time that it is thriving and prospering. And there's very, very little crime on the island, so it does feel very safe, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. Very, very hot though, always hot, but there's always trade winds. So, and it's basically outside of the hurricane belt because it's right above Venezuela. And so, if you're going to any of the ABCs, the ABC Islands, the Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, they're all part of the Netherlands, and they're amazing food. The Dutch food is croquettes and bitterballen and frikadellen. Delicious. So, um, anyways, yeah, so Alaska, there's a lot going on, but we're ready for a cruise. Actually, Tammy, I just want to let you know, I got some of these. Now, Christine Tizone and Bojangles both had recommended something like this. This is an electrolyte packet, like basically it's just a little powder packet that you can add to your drink. There's no, is there? It's like it's not really. Anyways, I'm gonna try it. So the idea is if you are, ew, this comes in a bunch of different flavors, and this one is Glacier Freeze Iceberg. 10 packets were supposed to be on sale for $5. But I think it was if you bought a minimum of two, then they were $5, and I only bought one to try. So it was seven. But I mean, the glass is blue, but this stuff is like pretty pukey blue too. Gonna mix this up a little bit, and we'll see what this tastes like. But anyways, I'll bring this for the cruise so we can hydrate, because we do have the Have It All package, which of course means we will be imbibing. Cheers. Okay, it's not as disgusting as I thought it would be. Oh, that's drinkable. Can always add vodka to it, right? They sound like a 20-year-old or what? No offense to 20-year-olds, but what's it for? Christine and Linda Bojangles had recommended this. They said basically take it if you're going to be drinking a lot, or if you're dehydrated, and it basically helps you to be hydrated. So yeah, I purchased some of that. So we are ready to rock and roll. We're ready for our orange party. With Holland America, once per cruise, once on every cruise that they do, they have an orange party, and this is to celebrate their Dutch heritage, hence orange flag. And they do a pub crawl and stuff like that. We have the Have It All package. We have the drink package, so we wouldn't necessarily need to do the pub crawl. But at the end of the night, of the party, and I think it's not a major thing, but there's dancing and fun and games and stuff. And the ship's executive, I think it is, they pass around Dutch inspired snacks, so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, it should just be a whole bunch of fun. Everybody dresses up in orange garb, so it's kind of like, at the Sandos, I think it's every Wednesday night, at least at Sandos Finisterre, every Wednesday night is white night. So of course you dress up in your whites, and it's out on the beach, and there's a barbecue, and the general manager of the resort, who's an amazing individual. She works so hard and sets such a great example for the employees. Um, she does a little speech, and then they have this whole like Cirque du Soleil type show, I think it was. So it's a whole thing. But the white parties, the neon parties. If you go to the Rio resorts, they've got their Rio parties. One of the nights is a pink party. One of the nights is a white party, and one of the nights is a neon party. Did I say that already? No, pink, white, neon, and jungle. Those are the four. And it's the I'd have to go back and check. I think it's the neon party is they actually do thematic music. So at least if you're going to the Rios in Cabo, and I know a bunch of you are, they have the four different parties. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, nothing. Then Friday, Saturday, and the Wednesday night and I believe it's, like I said, it's either the white night or it's the neon night, and it's an 80s dance party. And whereas some of the more like the DJ, what would you call that? The DJ music, for sort of maybe more younger generation, what you're going to find at Coco Bongo, or like the Mandela in Cancun, the like really disco-y music. Um, uh, that music is like the other nights, but on the 80s night, it's people that are like 40, 50, 60 years old, they are all at that party, and that is the most fun. Truly, truly. Yeah, we stayed there for quite a while. And they have at the Rio party, what's cool is they have a different bar, and if you're staying in the Rio complex, this is the one in Cabo San Lucas. If you're staying at either of the Palace properties, there is a separate bar that's just for Palace guests. So this Rio Santa Fe is the largest of the whole complex, and it um, has a regular bar. But for Palace guests, there's a separate bar, so you can kind of skip the line, if you will. And then they also have snacks in there, and there were people that went in there just for the snacks. So there you go. Anyways, oh yeah, and I wanted to say as well with the Alaska thing, there's been a lot in the news because there's been some. I should have just put this as a topic, but there's been a lot in the news because of the earthquake that they had in Russia a couple of weeks ago, and then just on Sunday there was a major rock slide. And this happened near the Mendenhall Glacier, which has also got a huge flood warning going on right now. And so with the rock slide, it was approximately, I don't know, they said like cubic meters or something is the numbers that they were throwing around, but basically it was the equivalent of 40,000 Olympic size swimming pools. So that's a lot of rocks. Um, Collapsed into the ocean near no, it wasn't Mendenhall Glacier. It was, sorry, Tracy Arm. So we're going to be sailing Tracy Arm. Most cruise ships, when they go up to Alaska, sail through Tracy Arm. With that amount of rocks, it was basically the equivalent of a Cat 5 earthquake. And then at the mouth of Tracy Arm, there were 20-foot waves. So when you're at sea, if you're in a wide open body of water, the cruise ships can kind of, you might not even feel it. When you're in a basin, when you're close to land, that's when it's going to become much more problematic. But their detection systems up in Alaska are so amazing. So I'm not worried at all, Tammy. I don't know if you're worried, but I yeah, but there's been a lot going on with that. And then right now, there's the flooding from the Mendenhall Glacier, which is basically what happens is as the snow melts, there creates water pockets underneath the glacier. Like the water finds a way, right? I mean, anybody who lives in a home who has got trees around knows that, same as the tree roots, they're just going to go where they want to go. Same with water. Water's got to find a way. It's going to force its way through. So it's going underneath the glacier, and there it kind of makes different routes depending on blockages and how easily the water can push through. What's happened is there's a buildup, and they were expecting, and like yesterday or today, for this water to break. There was a massive flood last year, and they're expecting 17.25 foot increase in water levels. Um, so keep an eye on that one. If you are interested, you can go to junoflood.com, and you can actually see live river cams and see where the flood area is, if that's your jam, if you want to check it out and see where the potential flooding could happen. But like I said, it's live webcams as well, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah. Okay. It's travel talk. We could talk about anything, and I can. Talky talk 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 talk. Okay. So let's go back from last week. The breaking news, uh, of the water slide on board the Royal Caribbean, Icon of the Seas. Relatively new ship, started out in January of 2024, and the water slide's been like well used. But basically, what happened is there's a drop, and where this drop happens is where the acrylic. It's I mean, you can call it glass, but really it's that thick acrylic, um, that you would see in any see-through water slide, and it cracked. To me, it looked like it was, about a foot and a half, in diameter, but nobody fell through, which is good. And of course, the person did suffer some injuries. Hasn't really been reported, but you got to know. I mean, the cruise ship, they're worried about liability, so the guy's probably going to get free cruises for the rest of his life. Um, but yeah, I mean, it happened. So my question to you is, would you do some of these crazy rides? And I've got some examples for you. So this is one. This is on Carnival Vista. This is a sky ride. I don't see from this picture, and I haven't been on Carnival, on a Carnival Vista. I haven't been on Carnival other than to do a tour of the ship. But I haven't been on this particular ship, and I don't know if these. I would guess these people have to be strapped in. But nonetheless, like, they're up in the air, and cars have mechanical issues. Your bike could have an issue. Um, Boats, buses. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we gotta take her. Yeah, of course we do. Angelo. Hello, Angelo. And yes, he would do it. Is that a surprise to any of you? Any of you who are regulars on our little Wednesday travel chats, are any of you at all surprised by that? I don't think so. Good for you for being adventurous. And here's another one. This is on board the Disney Magic. It's called the Aquadunk. Not a big deal, except you will see where that arrow is pointing. That is the clear glass bit that goes over the side of the ship. So, in light of last week's story, um, I don't know. Would you? I don't know that I would. I think I might be doing a pass on that one, but that's just me. Um, uh, oh, Christine. I don't do rides anymore on land, so I certainly would not do it on a ship. I'm too old for that stuff. Yeah, I agree. And I think we talked about this a while back. I think the older that you get, the more you've kind of, maybe that's why, like, they always say, oh, older people get so jaded and stuff. Well, maybe it's just that we've seen so much stuff that it's like, yeah, well, it could happen. You can put blind faith into it, but at some point you got to kind of go, is this the right thing to do or not? And then this is another one. We talked about this one before. This is the MSC World America, and this ride is called the Cliffhanger. Rises you, raises you up and over the side of the ship, and then you're on like a teeter-totter situation. Um, Again, to that, I say a hard no. Absolutely not. I mean, if you want to do something like that, hey, giddy up, fill your boots. But I mean, now that said, I was just reading a really interesting article that said that the Japanese bullet train has never had a an issue. There's never been an accident. There's never been an issue. Um, these trains have been running for years, and they go like 350 kilometers an hour, which is like 250 miles an hour or something. And millions of people take these trains. Hundreds of thousands take them every day. And there's never been an incident. And to this day, their average on time record, it's like their average is 1.5 minutes late. That's how good their on time ratio is. Certainly no airline can report that, but a lot more factors involved probably. But they spend apparently like a ton of money on maintenance and ensuring safety standards and stuff like that. And of course, there can be earthquakes in Japan. I mean, we all know about some of the ones that have happened there, and they have the systems tracking so well that if there's even a remote hint of an earthquake starting, they will like slow down the train as fast as possible. So it's pretty amazing. So yeah, yeah, Angela was brave. It was time to go. No, I'll go watch. I will go watch you. No, I don't know. I don't think I'd be watching that the cliffhanger one. No. Water slides, I could watch that, but cliffhanger, no. I don't know. What do you guys think? Um, Tammy, are you waffling on this one? I don't know. Yeah. So some of those rides, and you're paying extra to go on a lot of these things. So I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if you're paying extra for those because, quite frankly, that's not even on my window. On my like, everybody's got their bucket list, their stuff they really want to do. Then there's kind of like the secondary, all those other places they want to see, but not as high priority. And then when you get to the bottom of that, and then add about 50 more places and destinations and things to do, not even then would you find those things on my list. Like, just no. Yeah, but to each our own. Tammy, getting ready to head down to Silver Dollar City and Six Flags St. Louis in September to ride the roller coasters. Well, you know what? I mean, we've got here in Vancouver, we've got it's called the PNE, Pacific National Exhibition, which has been around for decades. Probably, no, 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 I wouldn't be a century, but for sure since the 80s, and probably much earlier than that. And some of the one wooden roller coaster, it's a wooden roller coaster, and I don't know. I don't know. It That one's not too bad. There's also another one called the Mousetrap, and I don't know if this still exists at the PNE, or at other places, but this Mousetrap ride, this one's on a metal, girder system, and it kind of zips around, like a mouse would, and, up and down and around, so that's kind of the concept of that ride. And I remember now, granted, this was in the 90s, and we were going on that ride, and a friend of mine, there's 3 of us were gonna get in one of these cars, and a friend of mine, he goes to get in, and he finds, "Oh, there's a bag inside." He takes it out, and he says to the guy working working the ride, says, "Oh, there's somebody left their bag, their purse or whatever." And they're like, "No, no, 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 leave that in there. We need that to give the car weight to keep it on the rails." And while you're waiting in line, you see, like, you'll see screws and bolts and stuff like on the ground because these things happen. A relative of mine used to talk often about metal fatigue. I don't know what you think. um Okay, so Tammy's up for a regular roller coaster, so she would do that. Dean say, "Oh yeah, the Stratosphere in Vegas. The teeter-totter was always leaving people hanging over the edge for hours." Absolutely. I remember we would always be every time we were sitting at a blackjack table in the, it's a little bit more opportunity for chit chat when you're doing that as opposed to playing slots, pretty individual opportunity or individual activity. But at the card games, they would always be talking, "Oh, yeah, there's another ride that's stuck at the top of the stratosphere." I've talked about this before. You're a mile in the air, a mile in the air, a mile high, on a fault line. Las Vegas is on a fault line, and the ride is stuck, and you're hanging over the. Tammy, no, no stratosphere for her ever. 1958. Wow. Yeah. So, um, not quite 75 years old. Is that right? Yeah. Ah, interesting. Yes, old, old, old. Um, I don't know. That's roller coaster is more inclined to do that. I mean, at least it's like the one in Vancouver or Vegas. If you do the ride at the New York, which don't ever do that if you've got a bad back or a bad neck because you'd be sore for days after that because there's so much torque. But I mean, I guess if there's I mean, there was a CSI episode about this where I don't think it was that same roller coaster, but one of the cars flew off the track. Like, so I mean, these things happen, right? So no, I don't think I'd be. I mean, I guess you're gonna bounce if you hit the tarmac better than hitting the water. I don't know. Sad, sad, sad news. They are moving the uh, entry exit systems in the EU to a digitized system. So as of April, 10th of April, very exact dates, 10th of April 2026, they will no longer, the EU countries will no longer be issuing passport stamps. How sad is that? I mean, I think I have every passport I've ever owned. I think I missed one. I think I forgot to tick the box where it said you could keep them. Can you keep them in the US, Angelo or Christine? If you can you request when you go to renew your passport that they send that you I think they let you keep the old one right away. They just snip a corner off of it or poke a use a hole punch. So it's basically defaced and no longer valid. Um, but yeah, we can keep them here. And some of the stamps are really cool. Aruba. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at those, uh, then, yeah, Tony, go to Aruba just to get the passport stamp. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of a sad thing. I do enjoy that sort of history of it all. Angelo is saying, yes, they get them back when they renew. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I guess on the positive side, less wear and tear on the passports, because you're not having another person handle them and stuff like that. And also, um, you're not going to need extra pages. There's never going to be a concern about that. No, I don't know. I'm curious, by the way, if when you not using one this size, but do you put your passport in a Ziploc bag when you put it in the safe, particularly in humid destinations like Mexico? I have been doing this recently, and usually I'll put all my spare tip money because there's so much of it, right? So I'll put all my ones or my 20 peso notes into my bag and with the passport in it as well. Put that in the safe, and then you don't have to worry about the pages of your passport curling up from the humidity. I don't know if anybody else does that, but that's something that I've been doing recently and find it quite helpful. All right, moving on. Air Canada flight attendants have officially voted to strike. Um, the company they've issued strike notice. So the earliest that they would be going on strike is Saturday. So for any of you who are flying into Canada or around Canada or out of Canada using Air Canada, this could impact you, especially over the next 3 days. They're already canceling flights. It's affecting vacations. It's affecting everything. The company apparently is seeking binding arbitration. The flight attendants have been offered a 38% increase over the course of 4 years. And they have voted no. So that's where that's at. So who knows? Hopefully things will get sorted out fairly soon on that one. What's interesting though is we talked about this last week, and I think Christine, you were one of the ones who said right off the bat, the flight attendants don't get paid very well. And it's true. So, for example, I looked at WestJet. Flight attendant typically earns between 35,000 and 63,000. That's total compensation. Air Canada is 42 to 63. Um, but depending if you're doing more the international flights, they are longer, so you can get more money on those. So it could be up to 70,000 or more. United Airlines, average flight attendant earns 38,000, and on Delta, in the first year of hire, it would be between 38 and 55,000. And then after that, for the first 10 years, they could reach between 55 and up to 70,000 annual salary. And then after 10 years, it could go up to as much as 115,000. So Delta got them covered. Delta is also the first airline in North America to start paying to start paying flight attendants for ground work. So work that they're doing on board the plane prior to it doing the pushback. Because for most airlines, that's when they start getting paid. So yeah, Daddy's saying WestJet will be next. Yeah, probably. I know, like we had the WestJet mechanics. They were the first ones to go on strike, and they were offered measly 12 and a bit increase, 23% over 5 years, blah blah blah. Pilots, they got a 42% increase. That was in 2024. So talking about, what did I say? 28, was it 28% or 38%? I forget what I said for numbers. Now I'm talking about a bunch of numbers. None of them are being retained. Um, but I mean, you can't increase your pilots that much and then not increase the flight attendants. I mean, they're all there working as a team, right? So, yeah. Um, oh, Angelo saying with the passport, he puts his in an RFID blocker. Ah, interesting. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So this is our tech guy. For those of you who don't know, Angelo's got a tech background. So does anybody else use an RFID blocker on their passport? I know, like I carry my passport in my purse, and my purse is RFD blocked. So when it's in there, it's fine. It's just when it's not in there, it's not. Um, just better not mess up my trip to the DR in December with WestJet. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. I honestly don't know when their contract ends. So that would be the tricky part to find out. Well, I mean, same as Europe. Like Europe's, there's always somebody on strike in Europe, especially during the summer. So um, if you're going, Zaddy, if you're going at Christmas, could be an issue. If you're going before Christmas, probably not, because the strikes usually happen when it's going to put the most pressure on the company. Pre-Christmas, right? Like right before Christmas, that could be tricky. But yeah, so anyways, that is impacting people. So if you're coming into town for a cruise, just bear that in mind that could impact your travel. Oops, and then where did we go here? I moved my notes around. Yucatan. So Merida, if you've ever been to Merida before, it is north of Cancun. So when you go right up to the top, on sort of one half of it, you've got Quintana Roo as the state. Quintana Roo is like Cancun, Puerto Morelos, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, that whole area. And then the state beside it is Yucatan, and that's where Merida is, and a few other very popular tourist towns, especially for snowbirds. Anyways, they are talking about changing their time zone to align with Cancun, so they would move to Eastern Standard Time year round, which would make it a lot easier for people, especially, people will fly into Cancun Airport to go to Merida. So it makes it a lot easier that way. Quintana Roo, as a state, they stopped doing daylight savings time in 2015. Ours is on hold, meaning the legislation to change it is on hold. We are hoping to move to one set time zone year round. I personally would rather have it be uh, daylight savings time, because timing works out the best. And otherwise, I've got the birds start chirping at 2:30, 3 a.m. No bueno. And it would mean the end of outdoor summertime sports, outdoor summertime evening sports. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that one. Oh, Zaddy's going December 2nd. Okay, good, good, good. Where are you staying, by the way? I think I asked you this before, but I don't recall. Sorry. Um, Yeah, so we'll see what happens. It's not been set in stone as of yet, and it's not going to affect a lot of us. But if you are planning to go to Merida, it looks absolutely gorgeous. If you ever watch some other YouTubers like Adventures of a Traveling Dawn, he's done a series on there, and I think Vacation Couple did as well before they broke up. Not Vacation Couple, Country Collectors, Country Collectors. Couple still together, still happy, still married. Um, so yeah, um, I wouldn't mind going to Merida. It's nice to go somewhere different and check things out. So, yeah. Oh, Malia, first timer. It'd be very interesting to see what you think. Oh, a whole lot of comments. Whole lot of comments. Um, oh, yes, 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 yes. Yeah, they don't change the time in Saskatchewan. Um, lucky, lucky. But I'm not gonna trade you that for those black flies. You could keep those. Yes. All right, moving on, and last but not least, we have hurricane predictions. Okay, so this was interesting. Oh, I did not load the thing. I bet I could. Let's see if I can find this now. We'll call this 2025. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to load this for you, and this is showing you. We've talked about this before. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. Okay, full screen. All right, so here's the original so the predicted in black and the actuals in red. So last year, remember, they were saying it was going to be a horrible hurricane season, the worst on record. And as you can see from the numbers, not so much. Predicted 20 to 25 named storms. We only had 18. That's compared. So, and I also put on here the information about El Nino and La Nina, because that has a very seems to have a very direct and correlated um, impact on the storms. So the storms basically in the Atlantic basin, they originate off the coast of Africa. So that's actually sand blows from the Sahara Desert. Is it going to make sense? I don't know which way I'm looking here. Should it be this way or this way? I'm waiting for the video replay to catch up. No, okay, so it starts here. It starts in Africa. Depends how you're looking at it. If we're looking at a map, it starts here in Africa. The sand from the Sahara Desert goes into the air. And then when it's El Nino year, warmer waters mean warmer winds, means there's stronger winds blowing against the hurricane, so it makes it more difficult to formulate. Last year was the El Nino season was supposed to be ending, so that's where that whole situation came from. That they predicted that when this the winds stopped pushing against the desert stuff that was going to create the hurricanes, that's when they figured this was just going to explode, and that never came to fruition. This year is supposed to be La Nina, which kind of makes the winds go the opposite way. So it almost like encourages the hurricane activity. But that hasn't started sort of formed either. We're basically in hiatus between the two opposing systems, if you will. I don't really understand this. I'm not a meteorologist. But nonetheless, you can see this is a prediction. So for this year, 13 to 19 named storms. What are we at now? On the Atlantic side, I think we're on Erin. On the Pacific side, so that's 5. And where are we at on the Atlantic side? Hurricanes 2025. Above average season. Yeah, well, what's the one that they're tracking right now? Oh, Erin. No, it is Erin, but that's on the Atlantic side. So there you go. But they're predicting 3 to 5, kind of on par for average. So fingers crossed. But if you are traveling in the next few months, of course, like we're already mid-August. August and September are the peak of hurricane season. So we're not doing too badly, considering that we're only just there. Where are we at? At this one? No. Or this one? No. We're up to here. Um, yeah, so who knows what's gonna happen with that. But you just gotta keep an eye on it. And there's like, oh, I probably can't even find him anymore. There's a guy that I follow. I'm gonna add him to next week's Tech Talk. And um but he is a forecaster and he is brilliant. Like, and he doesn't do all the drama stuff. I'll add his name for next week so you can follow him along on Facebook as well. But he only posts when there's stuff going on, and he tends to be right most of the time. I wish he would come and work up here. And be more accurate. Erin is thank you, heading towards Puerto Rico. Okay, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, he initially had said that they were um, saying it was going to go up to Bermuda, and then it's kind of changed course a little bit. So that's the thing with hurricanes is if the if it starts spinning a different way, it can change track fairly quickly, and that's when the problems come in because people just aren't prepared for it. You sort of predict it going a certain way, and you think you're all clear, and then all of a sudden, boom, things change. Um, so yeah, we will see. But like I said, big numbers predicted. Not as big as last year, which usually means that it's the opposite. Not good. All right, tech time. So, okay, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today is one, using your binoculars. The most phones these days have pretty amazing zooms. Like with the iPhone 16, what is it? I can do on a video, I can zoom up to 15 times digital zoom. And then with a photo, I can do up to 25 times, which is crazy. But if you've got binoculars, and this is a tough one, but I've done this before. We had a lot of hummingbirds come around, and I wanted to take a photo. And so if you can set your binoculars up on uh, a counter somewhere where it's stable, then you can line up your camera, and you have to get it just right. It is possible. This is no way I can show you this, but keep this part on something still, and then this you can use it to line it up with one of the eyes of the camera, and then you're multiplying your zoom by, I don't know, somebody who does math can figure that one out. But that's kind of a cool one. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is stabilizing your camera when it comes to taking far away shots. So, for example, friends of ours went on a cruise around South America earlier this year, and they were cruising to see penguins. And so, one of the things that they were doing is, they're just standing outside and trying to take um, videos and stuff of them. But so first of all, taking videos like this, which is fine if you're going to watch it later on an iPad this way. If you want to watch it on your TV, then you want to be taking your video this way, first of all. And then also, especially if you're zooming in, any kind of minimal amount of motion is going to seriously make it's going to be like when you're trying to watch it and stuff. What I have learned from doing 8 million videos, well, over 1,000 on my channel, take your arms, tuck them right into your body. And then if you've got something like this on the back of your phone, like I love this, because I can hook my finger around it. I'm not going to worry about dropping my phone. And you kind of want to stabilize it as much as you can and hold it as steady as you can. So again, pinch your arms in and then hold onto your phone, but hold onto your phone loosely. Unless you've been boozing it up the night before and you're kind of jittery, then lean against something. Ideally, you want to lean up against a railing or a window ledge or something so that you can add more stability. Because when you're zooming that far and you've just got this, whichever the tiny little zoom camera is, even the slightest movement is going to wildly change your viewing picture. So yeah, basically suck in your arms as much as you can and do that. Now, if you are doing selfie shots, um, you can, do the usual like that kind of thing. And of course, you can use your volume up and down buttons. Clear my, there we go. You can use your volume up and down to take the photo. Ideally, though, what you want to do is for a better photo, turn your camera around. Seriously, why can't I get rid of notifications? Um, Ideally, you want to take it with your the proper camera, your these cameras. So turn your phone around and set it on a timer. And hold your phone out at the length of your arm and take a photo that way. Practice it a few times before you go on vacation. You kind of get into kind of the distance, where to kind of angle the picture, that kind of thing. Take a few different photos. If you take it this way, it's going to do a burst shot. So you're going to get several different photos. You can pick and choose which one you prefer. But again, if you want the stability, especially if you've got the earbuds or whatever that can take the camera, which apparently this will work with the new iOS 20. So you can use it as the shutter. So without actually having to push a button, you can just get your phone super stable and then hit the button, chick, chick, takes a picture. But the biggest takeaway on that one is, like I said, when we were in Cabo, there was forever things going on the ocean. And we were trying to see what was going on. Was it a whale? No, somebody had flipped a jet ski. And so trying to take the like max zoom on that to take pictures or to zero in on it was very difficult. But again, stabilize as much as you can and zero in on the shot that way. So that's my tech tip for the day. But yeah, also with the binoculars, that's another one that's kind of an interesting trick. It's difficult to line it up. So you've got to have at least one part of it be stabilized. But if you can zero in and you can get that shot, then all the better. The other thing you can do to make your photo stable is, if you still have a phone that takes earphones, like with a cable, you can use the volume button on there in order to take the photo. So just means you're going to have less jitter on your camera. And even if it's in a tripod, if you push the button, as you touch it, it's going to create some movement. So if you got something zeroed in, like, or zoomed in 25 times, the least bit of motion is going to impact it, and it's going to change the clarity of the photo and all that kind of stuff. So give that a whirl. All right, so that is all I have for you today. Lots of stuff going on. Talked a ton about Alaska. Um, but I will, like I said, for next week, I will get the guy's name, the meteorologist who's looking at these hurricanes and stuff like that. So you can track and can follow him as well. Like I said, he's brilliant, and does a really good job of um, telling you where the storm's tracking and stuff like that without a lot of drama. I like drama, but not always. So thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you very much to all of you for helping me hit 6,000 subscribers. We're actually at 6,005 as of today. So thank you very much for all your support with that. Still hoping to hit 7,000 by the end of the year. I mean, 8, 10 would be great. 7 may be more realistic. So, like I said, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same channel, and lots of news coming up next week. So have yourself a great rest of your day, and hope you have a fabulous weekend. Enjoy summer while it's here, and we will see you next Wednesday. So